the way we're all wired, from our backgrounds, from the way we've got brought up, it's all adding up, but as a whole, right? And the synergy that you get out of that is so much more worth than having let's say, the four fastest runners in the room or in the world running. But if they're not passing the baton properly,
Right.
you cannot win the race. So it is a matter of having the critical voices in the room, and even the ones that are less noisy, to be able to make changes that are meaningful and more impactful.
Welcome to the Leadership Laboratory podcast. Thank you for tuning in. My goal is to share tactical conversations that you can learn from and readily apply so that you are inspired to experiment with your leadership style, and in doing so, find your authentic voice. Today's guest is one of the most brilliant, passionate, creative, determined, altruistic women I know. She is a master at expanding her impressive list of skill sets, jumping into things she knows nothing about and figuring them out quickly, all while leading with an insatiable curiosity. Katarina Yared is an energy scientist who has thrived at the intersection between molecules and megawatts for over 20 years. She is a seasoned veteran with hands-on experience, all the way from the gritty drill bit to the carbon-free grid. She has immersed herself in the full energy spectrum, from traditional fossil fuels to the new energy economy. And in her free time, not only does she love substacking, but she inspires her three kiddos to enjoy life in nature, pay attention to the small things, and lead with gratitude. Katerina, I am so excited to welcome you to the Leadership Lab podcast.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Excited to be here.
Yes, yeah. This conversation has been, somewhat years in the making. And today we are talking about career mapping, navigating your career, taking ownership of it. And Katerina, you have a success story about landing on your feet. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, I started off as an LWG field engineer back in the days, almost 20 years plus ago, where, curiosity led the way from the beginning in my career. And it was a big driver for sure. I did have the opportunity to start off in a very comfortable office nest as to start off my career, but I decided to go with the field engineering aspect of things, just because I knew that this is something that would catapult me further. Taking leadership or taking ownership of your career early on is something that I always encourage young students to aim for, because you can only go further up from there. Obviously, in oil and gas, the landscape has been a boom and bust landscape, and navigating that has been difficult at times, obviously, with all the ups and downs there. But being optimistic, like I'm always, right? It's always about finding the right choices that are in front of you, right? Aiming for big dreams, but always navigating with my gut to tell me that this feels good or it doesn't feel good, right? And in particular, again, as a young geologist that I was going into oil and gas, a lot of my cohort were wondering why I would go in such a dirty environment. But the fact of being able to enable energy access to people is something that has been driving me from the beginning. And even beyond oil and gas, geothermal, for example, has always been part of my story as well. And now I'm happy to dwell in it full blown and also trying to inspire the next generation. But in general, it's every morning you have the choice. Will it be a good day? Will it be a bad day? Same thing for career. Will it be a good choice or a bad choice? And, you really have the key to so many of aspects of your career that no matter what, finding a way to find your way back if you're falling, right, is critical, especially if you are on a low you lost your job. I got laid off once in my career, but it was a matter of resilience, and I only appreciated having a space to be myself again, so much more, right? So, yeah.
Well, I love the power combination that you have of the optimism and the curiosity, and then also just the action behind that. Because it's not just about thinking about what you could do differently with your career, but I love how you've always embraced change, Katerina. And with the energy industry, I mean, there's so many different aspects of it. And, to your point, when you start in the field, like that's a great way. Like you get your hands dirty, right? You get your feet dirty. You got your steel toed boots on, and having that experience, it's always leading somewhere else, right? That's foundational to something else. And now you work for a company that's not an energy company, but you're using the experience that you've gained along the way at that company, which is just it's another pivot, yet another expansion of your career journey.
Right. And along the way, the learning points that you gain are not right away clear, all right, and how they can help you pivot or help you expand your horizons. And, that just like the current position that I'm at, it gave me a platform to use all my skills, my network, and the technical skills, as well as understanding complexities in where we're headed in this a new energy future. And it really empowers me to be able to contribute meaningfully, but also lead with knowledge and skills that I've collected over the years. So, and if it wasn't for me trying out different things, I definitely wouldn't be here. But again, it's a matter of taking trust in what you can achieve, in your own skill sets, and the capability to be able to withstand the hardships that, again, the oil and gas industry brings to you, but learn from them and grow and expand further. And again, optimism is always a good thing to have, but it always proved positive in my case, especially, during COVID, where, I had time to refocus, and like many people, right? And then I aimed for going for my second master's in sustainable management, right? To be able to, again, understand if we want to have critical conversations, what I need to understand where the other people come from, right? It's not about us and them, it's about us trying to find the right solutions. And that only happens if we understand the languages that they're all talking about. So,
Yeah. Well, and I love that you took your technical skill set and the things that you were learning and building on in the technical side and then layered them with the very important communication skills because to your point, like we don't do anything in a bubble. Technical knowledge only goes so far. Ultimately, you've got to know how to be able to communicate that with people and people who might not be like you. And that's a skill to build. Well, I hear so much confidence and assurance coming from you, Katerina, but was it always like that? Did you always lead with this amount of trust in yourself?
definitely not. Yeah, no, definitely it grew on me. And I guess, again, starting off in the field, as one of the few females out there on offshore rigs and things like that, it did prove to myself that, again, things are possible if you just put your mind to it. And the support system is critical as well, right? You have to have your support system from the very beginning. At the beginning, I didn't know that mentors can be anywhere and everywhere, right? It's a matter of just identifying the people that can support you and can lift you up, and stick to them, and kind of dampen the naysayers and the people that question your knowledge, right? As I advanced in my career, from a technical aspect into the technical business development aspect, that's where you start to interface with clients. And again, the trust that you build with them is something that is invaluable and still is carrying me on today. And those connections are the ones that were able also to feed my assurance, and the understanding that I do deliver and I can deliver, and with meaningful aspects to the products or the solutions that we find and things like that. But it definitely took a while for me to even realize that, hey, I can do this. I can bring this to anybody's table and we can find solutions that are good for the teams or for the entirety. So it's definitely something that grows on you, but you have to listen to it. You have to purposefully listen to it and to the feedback and to the fact that, hey, yeah, this is something that you're very good at, right? Uh, and technical societies, in my case, were the platform where I felt that confidence build up. I was a president for the Society of Petrophysicists and Well Log Analysts, and I think that was a milestone for me for sure. Uh, Again, to be able to lead as a technical person further and on a worldwide scale.
And when you took that role, president of say it again first, president of the petrophysics.
The
Yeah.
SPWLA, so the Society of Petrophysicists and Well Log Analysts. Yeah.
When you took that role, did you feel ready for it?
No.
And so walk us through that, because it's again, I'm just highlighting this, the example here with career mapping and essentially like saying yes to things before you're ready for them, saying yes to I mean, you had never had another role like that, correct?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that was such an amazing opportunity for you to step into the leadership skills. And you and I have talked about this a little bit, like the things that you knew you had inside of you, but hadn't fully manifested, or they hadn't fully revealed themselves. Was that an opportunity where you got to flex that muscle and practice your leadership skills?
Yeah, no, absolutely. This happens through nomination, right? So there is already a committee that decided that I was ready for this role, and they put a slate of candidates out there, and I was the clearest winner. So it definitely supported the fact that even a body of membership that is beyond who I know, right? It's a worldwide network. They saw what I delivered in the previous roles in that society were good enough for them to trust me to be able to guide the society further. And and we added chapters to the society while I was the president for that year. And I'm still involved because I know that this society lifted me up and provided so much support that I still want to give back. So yeah.
Mhm, mhm. I hear in your different transitions that you had and pivots, I've heard you say just the support, right? That you had along the way, trusted people, that you listened to their feedback, probably the good, the positive and the negative feedback is where we experience the most growth. Can you think of a turning point or a moment when you started to shift from having confidence in the technical skills, building the confidence in the leadership skills, and when did you feel that shift of, okay, now I've got the confidence in both, or I know what to do in order to build that more?
Yeah. So again, it is a matter of expressing the wants that you have for your career, right? And expressing them often and in front of a lot of people. That's something that I had to learn too. When you keep it for yourself that you want to be a manager, it's not going to go anywhere. Right. You need to express it often, and Jamie, and we talked about that early on in my career as well. It was a manifesto that you need to put out there and be clear about that. And once you have a clear picture, communicating that clear picture to upper management is key. Obviously, not all upper management is able to act upon it fast, or it's not going to happen overnight that they can give you a chance, but to show leadership skills. But when they do come, step on it, go full speed ahead, and and you will have the support system because they gave you the platform to do so. And with that, it just it liberates even further capabilities in your energy, in your capabilities in organizing or anything like that, right? In your skill set further as soon as you have that boost. But yeah, this is something that needs to be clear and communicated often and as many times as you can in front of everybody that you think of. Yeah, because you don't never know who's gonna be the quiet supporter, the cheerleader in the room when you're not there, right? And that's something that I again had to understand because sometimes I didn't come clear enough as a leadership figure to because being technical the way I was, right, in a very niche environment, the realization that the leadership skills are in it, right? It's something that needs to be communicated because it's not always obvious, right? Yeah.
Well, and if it's not communicated, assumptions could be made about what you want to do, and if those assumptions are misaligned with what you want to do, that's I've seen people get stuck in situations of, "Ah, I said yes to this opportunity, but it's not even what I wanted to do." And so to your point, speaking up about it and being clear about it, I mean, that's you've got full autonomy and full agency to do that. And, we joke around in the Leadership Lab community. I'll ask the question, true or false, other people can read your mind. Right? And of course, that answer is false. And so the way you're saying things and how you're saying things, it's positioning. It's helping you map out the career that you want. And I remember a conversation, Katerina, that you and I had. I think it might have been one inside one of your official coaching sessions, when you were talking about getting your project management certification. And you were already thinking about, well, how do I position myself for this? And we talked about, well, if you were a project manager today, how would you do things differently? How would you see things differently? How would that your lens, your communication? And I remember you paused. I remember when I asked you that question, you were like, "Oh, well, actually, I would do this, I would do that." And then the question is, well, what's stopping you from doing that right now? And it was, well, nothing. Right? And then fast forward and you now have your certification. You knew what you wanted, right? And you took direct action to go after it. And that's so powerful, Katerina, because I think there's a lot of people who think, well, that but I could do that. That'd be nice to do that, but don't take the action to follow through. And it's, one small action can start the whole flywheel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, and again, I don't know what it is about certifications, but people start seeing you in a different light once you have them, right? And again, in terms of capabilities, the what a project manager can bring to the table these days is very critical in business advancements and going lean, right? That's what we're hearing a lot these days. But having the toolkits and the skill sets to be able to do that and having it backed up and certified, right? It's a key piece that I didn't even know how much impact it would have. In fact, one of my roles that I had here recently was because of my PMP. It was a key aspect. Like, forget about being a geologist and getting another master's in soil management. It's a PMP.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, because it is an accredited certification that this person is able to think in the project management space, the one that with the agile aspect and so on. Uh, yeah, and bring clarity to the bottlenecks that we're having, right? So that's a big key aspect that I didn't even know the power of a certification would have. But so many things opened up after that.
Hmm. Well, and what a great way to separate yourself from your peers, and then to give you a talking point when you're reaching out to people and saying what you want to do. To say, hey, and I got the certification. I'd love to tell you about an aspect of it. So it's not. It gives fodder to a conversation instead of like, hey, how are you? What are you up to? It's like I took this course, this certification. I'd love to share about it with you, and now you've got something concrete to share or some value even to offer somebody. And this I'd have to fact check myself on this, but my unofficial observations on LinkedIn, for example, is when you post that you have a certificate, it seems like the algorithms love that and that shows up more widely on your feed than just any other post or update that you would share. So also something to consider when you get that certificate, in addition to telling your boss, putting it on your performance learning plan, sharing with your department, make it known on LinkedIn as well.
Right, correct. Yeah, I got feedback from people I didn't know that were PMPs when I got my PMP, um, and congratulated me. So they got the post somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, now you're part of the club and you've made deposits into that relationship capital.
Right.
So much value. Well, were there any, the journeys in hindsight often seem like smooth and easy, but did you experience any challenges along the way or any roadblocks? Was there anything unexpected that came along?
Yeah, I mean, in many ways, the challenges reveal themselves in front of you, but you don't realize them that they're there, kind of thing, right? But I think the challenges that even people faced or brought towards me on the technical side, at the very beginning, I was very proud of every single piece of product that I was delivering, right? But being able to take in constructive feedback is critical. It's really what advances you, and like you mentioned earlier as well, this feedback is what brings you leaps forward, right? That when you would do everything perfect every time, you would never know that, you know this is so much better. Yeah, and people that were candid enough to come towards me and say, hey, I think this can be done this way, and you should look at this from this aspect, and if you do this way, it's not gonna be as impactful if you do it XYZ. So being open to feedback, although it's your baby, although it's everything that you put your heart and soul to, um, is not bad. It's actually gonna help you further. And that was a learning curve for sure for me to accept challenges, and being able to expedite the learning curve, expedite the capability of me to deliver even better results and products. But that was a learning curve for sure. Again, it always comes to the messenger, right? The way of messaging. Some people had no filter whatsoever. Others were like, hey, but the ones that delivered on point made me, feel the pain right away. Versus the others. But I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as you take it all in, have it simmer, and then, go back at it with more intention, and to deliver a better, result is key. And sometimes, again, it's a matter of also inviting people into your space, sharing your knowledge, which is critical, right? Especially I mean, sometimes you feel like people are holding back because they're afraid of, if they give out too much knowledge of their own, they're not going to be competitive. But it is a matter, especially nowadays, where problems are getting way more complex than back in the days when we were just drilling the good old easy oil and gas, right? Uh, the complexity is requiring you to combine brain power to be able to deliver solutions that really actually work and are good for the business as well, right? And you as a technical person cannot have the knowledge of land management or economics in general. It's really a team effort, and understanding this piece is something that even the oil and gas industry had to go through a learning curve as a whole to be able to build those what they call multidisciplinary teams, right? All in one room, making decisions in together, right, rather than siloed. In so many ways, that applies to anything in life these days. But again, because complexity is something that with the introduction of AI and things like that, we are the ones that bring the critical edge to every solution. So understanding that and taking it all in and being happy with it and in harmony with it is something that will bring you further.
Yes. And I love your commitment to diversity, Katerina, and in our current political climate that's heading in a direction that's not embracing diversity. And there's so much danger and there's so much risk in that, because when we get into myopic thinking, the our problems are not getting any less complex, which means we need different viewpoints, different brains, different experiences, different life lenses to contribute. And I really appreciate your awareness and your commitment to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a matter of diverse backgrounds, diverse neural backgrounds as well, right? The way we're all wired, from being from our backgrounds, from the way we've got brought up, it's all adding up, but as a whole, right? And the synergy that you get out of that is so much more worth than having let's say, the four fastest runners in the room or in the world running. But if they're not passing the baton properly,
Right.
you cannot win the race. So it is a matter of having the critical voices in the room, and even the ones that are less noisy, to be able to make changes that are meaningful and more impactful. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, and I have to think there's the correlation between the diversity of your career and the many different steps and the different angles that you've taken that has to be correlated with your mindset of embracing those differences because you just continue to expand your purview. And when you do that, Katerina, you're opening yourself up to all these different opportunities which have allowed you to move and navigate and wiggle to now a role that is like it was practically written for you. And so amazing because the only way to get there is to have, like you said, speak up, know your brand, know what you're learning, be open to that feedback even when it comes and it's harsh because there's a lot of value. You have to run it, right? Sometimes you have to run that harsh feedback through the emotions machine to get to the logic. I have a lot of individual coaching calls about that. But when you get to the other side of it, that's the most value is in that feedback oftentimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of that comes from being curious too, right? The curious mindset. And it's something that also you don't have to be curious from the very beginning, and maybe because, there's shyness or there's afraid of change or things like that. But as long as you listen and listen to yourself, listen inside of yourself as well in your inner voices, but usually the gut feeling that I have has been always been guiding me in the right direction. So listening is a big piece of it. Sure.
Definitely, definitely. Well, as you know, here in the leadership laboratory, leadership is an experiment. It's not something that can just live inside our head. We have to take action. We have to try things before we're ready, whether that's stepping into a new presidency role, as you did, Katerina, or maybe just a new way to approach a meeting at work. But if you could suggest one practical action or step or experiment that a listener could try out based on what we've talked about today, what would that be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of I guess the ideas that I had in my head, having a good sounding board, so surrounded by people that you trust, right? Is this crazy or am I going in the wrong direction? What do you think, right? That sounding board has been very powerful for me. Literally the cheerleading squad behind you that you might not even know that you have. It's a matter of asking that question and realizing how people view you, but also how people view your skill sets and where you can lead or bring change, right? So having that soundboard, and it's might be, your significant other as well, right? It's because those know all your niches. Yeah, so deficiencies and so on that might be able there to give you true feedback. But that sounding board has been a critical piece for me as well to just verify my unicorn ideas. Because yeah, when I did pivot from the good old nest of oil and gas as a petrophysicist, I pivoted over into consulting, specifically on geothermal and carbon capture, which was so new to everybody, right? And um, who knew where that was going to take me? So that was a leap that I took in myself and my capability of again landing on my feet and bringing value to spaces that haven't been tested yet. Yeah, and it proved out to be the right thing to do, and a very nice place for me to be. I feel welcome in geothermal and carbon capture as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And again, I hear the theme of the support system, the sounding board, surround yourself with trusted people and join a community, right? If you don't organically have that at work, get with like-minded people. I'm going to say like the Leadership Laboratory community, for example, where you can come, you can be you can exercise your voice, and then be that much more prepared when you're out there in the real world. Katerina, this has been so wonderful spending time with you. Is there any final words of wisdom that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, well, I think lead by curiosity and lead by your gut. I guess that's
Excellent. Well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you were as inspired by Katerina as I always am, as I certainly was today, Katerina. And because leadership transformation doesn't happen by merely listening, please do consider joining us in the Leadership Laboratory community to continue this conversation, get help mapping out your own career path, and do it with the same courage and clarity that Katerina has. Katerina, thank you again for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today. I know time I spend with Katerina makes a better day. So,
thank you so much, Jamie. I appreciate it. Thank you.
all right. And lastly, listeners, as a valued member of my podcast listening community, I have a gift for you, a coupon for $100 off of your membership. So please go to jamiemckinney.com/lab and use code podcast. Join us. Until next time, keep experimenting, keep growing, and focus on progress over perfection.